Hello, everyone, and welcome to Abnormal Investigations on this Thursday night. How's everyone doing out there? Hello, Jan from Oregon. Looks like we got Margie in here, Belinda in here, Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. Good to see you. Always good to see you. Segador's in the house. Good to see you, Segador. We appreciate everything you've done for us. Jan Whitman's in the house. Good to see you. The Bunny's here. Belinda Kruger's in here moderating. I see a lot of familiar faces in here tonight, guys. It's a pleasure. And it's always good to see you. Hello, Michael Dear. Michael is starting to become a pretty normal face. We're starting to see around here. Lisa Ann's in here moderating tonight. Good to see you, Lisa. Thank you for showing up tonight and moderating. Tim Wrestler's in here moderating. Good to see you, Tim. Guys in the chat, if you would. Lisa Ann, good to see you. She's a moderator. Sharon Guy's in here moderating tonight, guys. We got a lot of people moderating. We got the best moderators on YouTube. And everybody, give our moderators a hand for keeping the chat nice and clean and professional. It's a great job they do every time they come on. They are very well appreciated. And they do such a great job. Tyler 420's in the house. Tyler, you are on my intro notes tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about you. But I can't name everybody off. As OCST's in the house. Harold, how are you doing tonight? And I'm assuming CRJ's probably hiding somewhere in there. I don't know where she's at. She's probably hiding. Or she's giving me the stare through. I'm not sure. Dana Affliction's in the house. Good to see you, Dana. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show with us. Sharon, we appreciate you guys so much. We could not do it without you guys. You guys are a very important asset to the show. Damos Mars is in the house tonight. Good to see you, Damos. Always good to see you. We got Jack in here tonight. Jack Prepper's in here. Good to see you. Dana, the one and only Ortega, is in the house tonight. Good to see you, Dana. Always a pleasure to have Dana on the show. And of course, Larry's roofing guys, you seen at the beginning of the show, I put up his information. If you have any storm damage or just need your roof replaced, give him a call. He will come out. He will give you everything you need. He'll work with the insurance company, do anything you need, and he can assist you with just about anything. The guy, he knows roofing inside and out. Dreadhead David, good to see you tonight, and thank you for joining the members. You're not going to regret that. Romans 116, good to see you tonight. Vicky's good to see you. We got a lot of familiar faces in here tonight. I haven't seen Larry Dana. I don't know if he will be here, but we did put his card up at the beginning and everything. I made a little special deal for him so we could put his card up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring Jesse on real quick. We also have, guys, Amanda is going to be co-hosting tonight also. So we got, I don't know, I might be in trouble tonight, guys. We got 2 girls on the panel and I ain't got another guy, so that could be a bad thing. I'm not sure about that. Probably made a huge mistake tonight, but we'll try to make it work anyways. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring Jesse on, and then we'll bring Amanda on. I'll go ahead and throw Amanda in there too. What the heck? Got to break her in right.
Hello, and it's about time. I'm finally not outnumbered.
Hi, everybody. I'm back.
Good to have you back, Amanda.
Good to see you, Jess.
Yeah.
And as you can hear, guys, it may be in for it tonight. All right. Jumping over to the announcements we have for the show tonight, I'm going to let Jesse go ahead and do the prayer request before we kick everything off. And
okay.
If she's ready.
Maybe. I'm having some keyboard and mouse issues, so let's see. Okay, this works. All right. So everybody keep in your prayers Barton and Letitia Nunley, Connie, Donna Severo, Emmy's sister-in-law Tanaka, Lisa Ann and her family, especially her sister Carolyn, Lindsay and Tony Merkel, Martin Groves, Michelle McGuire, Mike Shriver, Mindy Weeks and her husband, Pam Jones, Randy Petticourt, Virginia Sequeira, William Johnson, and Austin McCarver.
All right, guys. And if y'all have anybody you would like to add to the prayer list, or if you'd like to add them yourself to our Facebook page, we have a prayer page. It is absolutely drama-free. It will remain drama-free. That page is to serve the Lord and to do prayers only.
Absolutely.
That is what that page is for. It's one of the strictest pages I have, so
and
very strict on that.
Able to post that, so that has been posted for anybody that wants to join the prayer group.
Good. Yeah, it's a really good one. Thank you, Tim, for that. We appreciate that. And whoever got that gift tonight is going to be happy because we actually have 2 member videos we're going to be putting out, guys. The members are going to get 2 videos because the Patreon people, if you are a Patreon member, guys, remember, you have a video out right now. So you do have a video in Patreon if you have not watched it. It is over the Vatican, and I'm getting really good reviews over it. Everybody enjoyed it as they did the one before. So we seem to be getting really good hits over there. So if you're on Patreon, go check it out. And if you want to be a Patreon member, you can find that link underneath most of all my video drops in the description. You will see the Patreon link. So it's pretty easy to find. Just click on it, and it's pretty self-explanatory.
It looks like Ristol was the lucky winner of the membership.
Ristol. Good.
Yep. Ristol. So congratulations, Ristol.
And I want to say hi to...
No,
sorry,
go ahead.
Mike.
You go ahead.
I just wanted to say hi to everyone in chat because I haven't learned how to be on a live and chat at the same time. So I will learn that soon, I promise.
You'll get it. You will get it. Trust me. After a while, it feels like you live it. So Ristol was the winner. Tyler 420. We're going to talk about you in just a second. We got a members video, guys. We're going to be working on. We're going to be talking about some of the places I'm wanting to go on location for some investigations. I went out on Wednesday. I was called by a couple to investigate their property, which was really interesting. Whenever I showed up at their place, I was met by them. They are some farmers or ranchers, and whenever I went out and met with them. They've been having quite a bit of trouble. They're having some trouble up by their house, but they're mostly having most of their trouble is actually by their ranch hands that are doing the feeding and taking care of the cattle in what they call the lower pasture. The lower pasture is also connected to the Corps of Engineers. Imagine that. It's connected to all that land. So when I went down there, it was really flooded. We wasn't able to look at everywhere we wanted to look at, but they do want me to come back. And what they're having trouble with, guys, is there's kind of the husband, the wife, and the ranch hands kind of have a disagreement on what they believe this creature may be, which makes it interesting for me because I get to go out and look for two different things. The wife says that she has seen it land up in the trees. It's about 5 foot tall. It has a green face and it has wings. The husband, he seems to believe it's more of a Sasquatch. What happened, one of the things that happened is it did urinate on their vehicle. The conversation I had with them, the husband was like, I don't know how he done that because it was up on the windshield and over the top. And then the wife was like, it didn't do that from the ground. It was in the trees is how it done it. So there's a lot of conflicting stories. They both have seen things, though. I mean, he has seen it on the ground and she has seen it in the trees. So are we dealing with something that walks and flies? I don't know. They're trying to keep, their child from knowing about it. They don't want to scare their child. They've asked me to come down, investigate it, try to see what it is. They have shot at it. So I would say that it is pretty angry and not going to be very welcoming to humans. But I will be going down there in the dark as soon as the water resides. And I have full permission to go on their property. And of course, we will go down the government property if we have to try to find out what this is. So it should be I'll probably do that live too, guys. So what do you think about that? Yeah, Jan, it may be marking its territory. You're right. Or I also wondered, do you think it could be angry? Did it urinate on their car because it was angry? So we'll
The
find
tree
out on
fear
that
is
one.
never good.
Yeah, that's not the kind of shower a camper looks for when they go into the woods.
Definitely not.
So, and then let's see what else we got going on. Of course, tomorrow night, guys, is boots on the ground Friday night. As long as the rain holds off, I will be boots on the ground. We'll walk the flooded lands again. That was pretty wild, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. The last boots on the ground got kind of crazy. I was a little afraid. It got kind of wild, especially whenever I started getting the hollers at me, telling me to stop. Got some pretty good video of them crossing the road in front of me. I was actually contacted by another Bigfoot group. I don't know if I can use their name, so I won't use their name right now. They was pretty excited about what we caught, and they have been running it through their filters and everything. And they gave me an approximate height whenever it went from all fours to standing up. Their guesstimation is it was approximately 10.5 feet tall.
Ooh,
That
yeah,
is,
that's a big one.
that's what it gauged at. And they have a lot better equipment than I do. And what they do is they take the trees next to me and they give them a rough estimate on height. And then they can somehow use that program to calculate distance and height of objects. And they said it was approximately 10.5 foot. The other one was 8.5 foot. So
The small one?
yeah, it was 8.5 foot.
Oh, wow.
So
That's still big.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's Amanda, that's a lot bigger than what I want to wrestle with out there.
For sure.
One of the sad things is that's the location that I'm planning to do the all night at, is that location. So we'll see how that night goes.
Are you gonna film it all?
What I'm probably going to do is start the live down there on a regular boots on the ground night, and we will run it like normal, probably run a 2-hour show. After we end that show, we'll probably end around midnight, approximately. I'll go to sleep at midnight, and then I'll probably come on at 3 and 5 and do a live at 3 and 5 for updates.
Wow, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So I'm planning on doing that.
It would be even way stranger is if he actually went to sleep at midnight.
For real. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. It may be possible with my new medication. My new medication makes me really tired at night. I've been really struggling. I'm actually thinking about switching them around. That way, I'm not so tired at night. But yeah, that's one of the plans. Oh, guys, I made a mistake, and I know that doesn't happen very often, but we're all allowed one a year. Uh, a lot of people went to go watch the Wide Open Adventures live we had the other night, my outdoor channel. My inbox is full of people saying, I was there, there was not a live, there was not a live, there was not a live. And I was arguing with people all morning. I'm not going to lie. I was like, yeah, there was a live. T Carp was there. We had a great live. It was almost, what was it, 3 hours? Uh, it was a really good live. And they're like, no, 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 that didn't happen. So finally, one of the people that was arguing with me, and I cannot see chat right now. I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm going to show y'all something in a second. But what had happened is one of the people sent it, and they're like, no, Mike, it didn't happen. I'll prove it to you. And they sent me screenshots. Well, we made a mistake. The link that me and Jesse was sharing was to the Wide Open Adventures Oklahoma. And there was not a live on Wide Open Adventures Oklahoma.
Oh,
no. So you guys are right. There was not a live.
Oh, no.
So tonight, for all of you all that want to join the correct link and to see that one, I now have it right here, and I will share it to chat. You will want to join this link, guys. It's right there. That is the link. And I was like, I know we had a live, and they were like, nope, it's not there. It's not. And it was like 50 emails. Everybody wanted to see it. Everybody that did show up for that live loved it. They want more of those. Absolutely. Dana, you got to check it out. Go check it out. T Carp was on there. The link, we just posted it. Let me post it again. I'll throw it up again. It was a great time. Yeah, Bohica, it was one of those. We was sharing the wrong place. And let me see. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can pin that right now. Yes. No, I can't. Okay, I can't do it because we're live. But anyways, I'll put the link up as we go through tonight, guys, and that way you all are able to join the right one. It was Tyler. It was an awesome live. It was a great live. Speaking of Tyler 420, I got to give Tyler 420 a big thank you tonight. Tyler 420 has really been pushing this page, guys. He's been bringing a lot of viewers over here. He's been sharing us out, and we appreciate that so much. We are very thankful to you, Tyler, for your help in spreading the channel. Thank you so much at helping us grow. And to everybody else that's doing it, if you're bringing people in, let us know, guys, and we will talk about you for the first hour of the show. I don't know. We'll talk about we will talk about you, though. Bohica, it's good to see you in here tonight. It's always good to see you. Grace is in here. Good to see you. Gracie Little Smurfy's in here. But growing quite a bit. Now for the members, the not just this is for the YouTube members, not the Patreon, which whoever Riston won tonight. So Riston, you're going to get to see this probably. We're going to be putting out a couple of videos coming out. The first one is going to be just a regular video. And we're going to talk about on a live where we're going, what the plans are, what I want to do, ta-da-la-la-la. The next live is going to be more of an interactive live where we're actually going to go over a subject. And the name of it I have going to use right now is it's going to be over Madeline. And y'all aren't going to want to miss that one. That's the one that we're really going to go into depth on and explain a lot of things and make it worth your while. So it's going to be a really good one. You're not going to want to miss that one. So anything that you ladies want to say before we start jumping more into the show?
Just real quick, I know I've been getting a lot of messages, and I know people have been asking you too, whether or not I'm going to be going out this weekend. And yes, I had made the promise to my daughter that I wasn't going to go out last weekend, but I will be going out live this Saturday, boots on the ground. So I just haven't gotten the link up yet, but I will get there.
Yay.
So.
And also, Jess, I wanted to tell you that I think that your lipstick color is fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh, Randy, how I miss you. All right, guys. So,
You got girls now.
girls, girls, girls. Ain't that a song?
Yeah, I think Beastie Boys.
Yes, it's a great song.
Yeah, I like that one.
Me too.
So, guys, who is ready for the encounter tonight? Who's ready for that one?
Ready.
It's a pretty different one tonight. It's a little bit different than what we've done, but I think it's going to be an interesting one at that. It's I think maybe a little tamer in a sense of. Hello, Coyote Joe Werner. Good to see you. All right. So this encounter happened in the fall of 1994. Did I just hear somebody yell at me, tell the damn story? No. But so we get up and he says, I had graduated from Washington State University. I went to a research college tucked into the rolling hills of eastern Washington. The part of the state is all farmland, endless golden waves of wheat and barley that stretch across the rolling hills and open prairies, and dirt roads that seem to go on forever. It's the king, or it's the king. It's the king of colleges, in my opinion, where you can go and learn about deep subjects, except for OU. He says, as a graduation gift to myself, I added the OU in there, guys. He didn't. I'm just saying Boomer Sooner. As a graduation gift to myself, I bought a brand new Jeep Wrangler. It was imperfect. It was a perfect ride for someone like me who spent nearly every moment of the wild camping, hunting, and off-roading. If there was a trail or a dirt road, I was on it. Out there, you could breathe. It was quiet, free, and peaceful. I think that's why a lot of people do have a lot of encounters, is because a lot of times we do escape the city life to go to where it's quiet. And a lot of us make the mistake of going to where it's quiet and we let our guard down because we do think that we're going out to relax, whenever really you should be having a different guard come up whenever you go into the woods. Do you think that's a mistake that's made?
I think that my senses are heightened in the woods for sure.
Yeah, same thing.
Right. I can barely hear you, Amanda. I don't know if it's me or.
Shoot.
Uh-oh. Don't fall over.
Can you hear me better now?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. It was because one of my earphones fell out.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Mine. I was just griping about those the other day. That fall, my dad and a Navy vet with more than 20 years of service made plans to meet up with me for deer hunting. He was going to have an awesome trip. Our destination, a forested region north of Spokane, about 3 hours away, he said. He came over from Seattle, and we went the night before the trip, they went over the topo maps and everything. And he said we had our whole hunt planned, and we was planning on hitting the road by 2 a.m., hoping to reach our campsite before sunrise. Good to see you, sunshine. Glad you was able to make it in. And we did by 2 a.m. sharp. We were on the road. My Jeep was packed, gassed up, and we was rolling north on a 2-lane highway that paralleled a train track, cutting through more wheat fields and the occasional sleepy farming town. That night, the only thing keeping us company was the rogue deer that would run in front of our Jeep and scare us to death that we would almost slam into.
gotta watch out for them deer.
Yeah, I've hit one of those things before. He tasted good.
Deers.
Yeah, he tasted good, but he cost me a lot.
I've been lucky so far, but everybody else in my family seems to have hit one.
I ate mine.
Yeah,
I called it.
I was gonna say, hunting deer with your car is probably the most expensive way to hunt.
Well,
That is true. Just
I figured if he was going to tear my car up, I was at least going to enjoy it. I called the game warden, told him what had happened, told him it was still alive in the ditch. It wasn't going to live. And he said, go ahead and dispatch it. I had a pistol with me. And he said, you can have it. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
put it out of its misery for sure.
yeah. So it was butterfly steaks on the grill that night.
Yum.
Oh, it was so good. That's one of my favorite things. I love deer steak. He said, we were about 45 minutes in. I was behind the wheel, and my dad was fiddling with the AM radio, seeing if he could pick up anything this far out in the middle of nowhere. He loves to listen to talk radio, and that will put me to sleep. Eventually, we started approaching one of those tiny farming communities, maybe 5 or 6 houses scattered alongside the road. Most of the homes were on the right side with barns, grain silos, and to the left of us was railroad tracks. Thank you for that, Sunshine. God bless you for that. That was weird. My screen turned red for a second, and then it went back to normal. He said the stretch of highway was a boring drive, but as we passed the first farmhouse and the speed limit dropped to 25, I glanced in the rear view again and noticed something very odd. The street lights behind us were disappearing. Not dimming, not flickering, just going dark, one by one, like someone was hitting a switch in reverse, coming for us. I kept watching, trying to make sense of it, until I finally said to my dad, hey, turn around and look, Dad. He said my dad leaned over and looked behind us, and instantly he saw it too. The street lights were shutting off one by one, heading straight in our direction. We both went quiet. Then the AM station had been tuning into, fizzled into static. Next to us, the second farmhouse lights shut off completely. Porch lights, barn floodlights, all of it. Behind us was nothing but black. And then the worst thing happened. My Jeep died, and the lights went out. Everything was dead.
That's my worst fear. That's my worst fear.
Being stuck in the middle of nowhere and yeah.
Yes.
So, it would almost make you wonder if, maybe a power grid had went down until your vehicle dies and your vehicle goes dead. But then my mind would go totally weird, though, because the first thing it would, Bohica, exactly. I'd be thinking
paranormal.
I would be thinking, who nuked us? That would be my first thought. Do I need to be looking for a bright flash?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of scared. I think those are EM. Yeah, that's a whole nother show, I guess.
Oh yeah, EMPs. That's terrifying.
And then he says his headlights all of a sudden started flashing super fast with his dash lights flashing, and the engine would start and then die, start and then die. He said I was absolutely afraid that my engine was going to break because it would start and die so many times so fast. We were just sitting there in total silence. No power, no lights, no explanation. Everything died again.
See, that sounds like a UFO.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking the exact same thing, Jess. And I was also thinking this is how a scary movie starts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when the person gets out of the vehicle and starts looking around.
For real. And don't say you'll be right back, because you won't be back.
It's always the first person that goes looking that never comes back.
And that's why you're going first, Mike.
I am willing to do that. That is the thing. I am willing to do that. And by the way, I got it. My mom bought me a shirt tonight, so I like it's a freedom shirt. So I got to brag on her a little bit. Oh, Jan, we hope not wrong turn. That would be a bad scenario.
Oh my gosh, that's like one of the scariest movies.
The little giggling guy. I know somebody that actually laughs like that, but I'm not going to go into that. But anyways, he comes back and he goes, I don't know. When I heard that laugh, it's still in my head. It's like, but I don't. But anyways, he says up ahead, the lights and everything on the right-hand side of the road, the lights ahead, even in front of us, all went out. And he said, I looked at my dad and I was like, do you think that we just encountered an EMP? And his dad said, no. And he said, why? And his dad, being a Navy, retired Navy, he was in the Navy for 20 years. He said, because my watch is still working. It's fine. And also, he said they had a radio in the car that they use for emergencies. It runs off of a 9-volt battery. It was still running. Everything else was dead. He said an EMP would have killed everything.
True.
So the weird thing is, he said, we're sitting there and we're trying to figure out what's going on the side of this road. And my dad says, did you see that cow walk past the Jeep?
Cow?
And he was like, no, Dad, I didn't see no cow. And his dad's like, a cow just walked past the side of the Jeep. I think maybe some cows may have got out and got into the electric lines and have maybe shorted out everything. That's what his dad is trying to make sense, I guess, of everything.
Makes sense.
He says at that moment, something rattles my dad's door handle and tries to open the door.
Mm-mm.
He said it wasn't heavy, it wasn't hard, it didn't jerk the Jeep. It was just like something tried to open the door.
Well, cows can't do that, so.
Yeah, at this point, it is not a cow. And he says his dad takes his flashlight, shines it at the window.
Oh, no.
And he said, the only way I know how to describe this, looking right back in the window at us, he said, it was a gray.
Oh, goodness.
He said, I don't know any other way to explain it. He said it had the light bulb looking head, had the big black eyes. But he said when Dad shined the light in its face, its little bitty mouth turned almost complete circle, open wide open. And he said it had little jagged teeth everywhere. And it like screamed and hissed and then ducked down. And they heard it go under the Jeep and they felt it hit the bottom of the Jeep and the floorboard where their feet are. Like it was banging all around under there.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
no.
He said, I freaked out, man. He said, I started yelling at my dad, telling him I don't want to be abducted. I don't want to go. Yeah, he said, I don't want to go. He said, I don't want to go, Dad. And then he said the awfulest sound you'd ever heard in the back. He said it felt like something literally tore the rear end out from underneath the Jeep. And they could not figure out what had happened. And the next thing he said, something goes running by my door. He said, I screamed and I shined my flashlight at whatever ran past my door. And he said, there goes the spare tire rolling down the road off the back of the Jeep.
What?
Uh-oh.
How the heck would they have done that? Just like busted the axle and everything?
No, they took it off the back of the Jeep, the one that goes on the back door.
Okay, the spare back. Okay.
Yeah, they took the spare off and they rolled it down the road in front of them. He said, Dad looked at me and Dad said, what in the hell are these? And he said, the whole time Dad's trying to talk to me, I am now digging through my camping bag, trying to get to my Beretta. He said, I'm wanting my gun. So he says, I finally get to the Beretta, I grab the Beretta, 2 magazines, load it, and I'm telling Dad, if I see that thing again, I'm putting a hole in it. He's like, I am putting a hole in it. I'm not messing around. I'm scared. He said, I was getting just almost panicked. He said, it's pitch black out here. I don't want to turn the flashlight on because if they're hiding, they can see us in the Jeep with the flashlight on.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, the weirdest thing happens. And he said, I don't exactly know what happened. And he said, if you would have told me this a year ago, I would have said you were full of shit. He said, the thing walks in front of the vehicle. Its head was barely above the hood. It puts its hands up on the top beside its head. And he said, this thing has long fingernails. And it starts scratching its back legs like a cat sounds trying to get up on something slick, he said. And it finally gets up onto the hood of the Jeep. And he said, it starts crawling like a cat hunting right at me on the hood.
Mm-mm.
It's like crawling at him. He said, for some reason, I was looking into his eyes And I couldn't see nothing but my face in his eyes. It's like I was reflecting in his eyes. And he said, I was so mesmerized by looking in his eyes that I never even thought to shoot at it. I couldn't move. He said his eyes were so beautiful. And he said it was the way he was moving at me. And he said, my dad reached over, grabbed the gun out of my hand, pulls the gun out of my hand, raises the gun up, and he said, Dad pulls the trigger, and it click, click, click. There's no fire. And he said, it looks at my dad right through the window. And he said, as they broke eye connection, he said, I was able to move again. And he said, as it looks at my dad, he said, it goes like this at my dad.
Mm-mm.
Oh, heck no.
He said, then it jumps off my dad's side of the vehicle. He said, so now we're stuck. He said, my dad forgot to take the safety off the pistol. It had nothing to do with what was on the hood of the vehicle. He said, we were both so scared that we wasn't even thinking of the mechanics of the pistol. He said, so I removed the safety from the pistol, and that is when the worst thing happened ever. The back of the Jeep started like making that screech sound like a car peeling out. But he said, we're sliding sideways toward the ditch, like slowly, like,
They're pushing them off the road?
something is pushing them toward the ditch.
Oh, no.
So he said, whatever it is pushing us toward the ditch. And the next thing we know, the vehicle slams over into the ditch.
Mm-mm.
He said, then we hear banging underneath the Jeep, hard banging. And then he said, everything goes quiet. Everything went quiet. He said, everything went quiet. And
They're
then
coming through the floorboard.
he said he looks in the rearview mirror. Their sleeping bag and all their luggage is starting to rise up in the back.
Oh, no.
It's coming. It's in the Jeep. He said it's coming through the back floorboard. They have
Oh,
made their
my
way
God.
in. Yeah.
No.
So he says he's screaming, he's hollering, his dad is yelling, and then he said, next thing you know, car lights ahead of us coming at us. And he said, as fast as the car lights were coming at us, all the street lights came on, all the farmhouses came on, everything lit back up, everything stopped, and then they see blue and red lights. It's a deputy sheriff. It's a deputy sheriff. He says the deputy sheriff pulls over, jumps out, and asks us if we're okay. And he said the first thing I said was, hell no, we're not okay. He said something just tried to eat our ass. And he said that the deputy is telling us to calm down. He believes we're in shock. He said, you guys have had an accident and I've got help on the way. And we said, there was no accident. He goes, sure there was. And he said, there was no accident. He said, well, the farmhouse right here called 911 for you guys. They heard you all hit the deer. So he said, we step out of the vehicle. The front of the Jeep has blood all over it, deer hair in it, and there's a dead deer in front of the Jeep, laying in the road, blood everywhere. And the Jeep is in the ditch.
Wow.
So the sheriff tells him, I think you all are under a lot of stress. And he said, I start telling him, hey, it came up through the back of my Jeep, dude. Go look in the back of my Jeep. He said, the deputy's looking at us really weird. And he's like, all right, you guys go sit in the back of my car and I'll check your Jeep out. I imagine he was starting to, probably get a little nervous. So he said he sets us in the back of his car. He goes back to the Jeep. You see the flashlight. He said all in the cab. He's looking everywhere, going through everything. He comes back and he says, there's no hole in the bottom of your Jeep.
What?
So the dad says, you're crazy, man. There's got to be a hole in the back of that seat. And they're like, no, there's no hole. So he said all the other emergency crews show up. He goes back with them all. The tow truck's got the lights on. They got everything lit up, He said the tow truck's got super bright lights. They got the whole area lit up and, trying to get the Jeep out of the ditch and all. and to try to keep cars from hitting them, that may be coming. He said, we looked inside of the Jeep, and there was no damage inside of the Jeep. He said there was no hole in the Jeep. The back door was still locked. The tire came off. The deputy said because of the collision, the force of the collision, that said it knocked the spare tire off the back. But while they're sitting there, he said, me and Dad are sitting on the back of the tow truck, and they're all up there taking the report and everything. And we happened to look up into the sky. He said the tow truck has lights that shine up everywhere, so it's really bright. And he said there goes this black, shiny, triangular object over the trees, right over us, and it just floats away. He said me and Dad looked at each other and decided that we wasn't going to press this much further because the deputy was already thinking we was losing our mind, and we didn't want to get locked up that night. So they ended up pulling our Jeep out of the ditch, he said, and we proceeded home. And he said, anybody has any ideas, he is welcome to whatever you think happened, because he has never had anything happen like that in his life or his dad.
Wow.
Well, my wonder is if he may have had something like that happen before and he just doesn't remember it. Did
True.
he say anything about like skid marks or anything like that on the road from where now?
Nope, just smashed a deer.
But how do you explain all the rest of the stuff that happened?
It kind of makes me think of there's a TV show, I think it was on for only 2 seasons, called People of Earth. And in the beginning of like the first episode, it was a guy who was, I think he was going up to like Alaska or something to interview these people that had close encounters. And on his way there, he's a journalist and he ends up hitting a deer, and his car is totaled and he has to wait for the car to get fixed. But he comes to find out that it really wasn't a deer. It was like all implanted and made to believe that it was, and stuff like that happens throughout the entire series. And it almost makes you wonder if, again, what's in TV series and TV shows and books and stuff isn't really like setting us up to understand things that are going on in reality. But
Oh, 100%.
after watching that series, I mean, it touches base on a lot of the different things that people claim they experience when they are dealing with extraterrestrials or aliens or whatever you want to call it. However,
Just that sounds like an X-Files episode, like that's what it reminds me of.
well, it was set up as a comedy, and I would suggest anybody check it out. It is kind of funny, but the stuff that's in it is a little too close to home.
I kind of had a theory when I was reading that. I was thinking, what if it was there to get the cow they saw go past the Jeep, and they happened to drive into the area at that same moment, and they were collecting a cow, and maybe even had a deer on board that they had collected that night, and because they had drove in and that car showed up, they had to make it look like an accident.
It messed their whole program up.
Right.
Or was the cow that they thought they saw go by actually a dead deer carcass floating by that they put there?
Or that.
Or walking by.
Walking by.
Well, I would think that, if you saw a cow is so much bigger than a deer, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
But at night, if it was floating and higher up, maybe you can mistake it out of the corner of your eye thinking it was a cow.
True.
Especially if you have all that farmland out there.
Well, you all know what I think about floating cows and spaceships.
Floating cows.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Well, that was going to lead me to my next thing. Is I've also heard several interviews where people have dealt with abduction, and 100% every single time they said once they realized what it was, they've been able to rebuke them in the name of Christ.
I believe they're demons. There's a lot of evidence, if you read into it, that coincides with biblical. And, I'm not saying it's all demons. I believe that we also have special agencies that are doing things behind the scenes also.
Oh, yeah.
But
there's so much out there that we don't know. There's so much we have no idea about.
and probably don't want to know.
For real. I want to know it all, actually, but I'm a little
Ooh,
bit,
Edith, I'm so glad that you're fine. And Segador, it also reminds me of the movie Fire in the Sky.
that was a
You
good
know,
movie.
yeah, he spoke about a lot of things that he's seen inside of that craft.
Yeah.
He saw humans in
Yeah, that's
suits.
scary.
You know, uh, you know, with the things that our military has now, that our military shows us right now, and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe we have these things. Well, the president said himself, if you're seeing it, we've got things that are 10 years newer. Everything you're seeing is 10 years old.
Hmm.
Oh,
You're
exactly. They're not going to show us the new stuff.
right, right. Yeah, we're seeing the stuff that they're okay with us knowing about now because they have far surpassed what they have now.
Yep.
So I got another one for you guys. I knew that one there would be kind of short. This one here was kind of short, so I knew that. But this one is a shorter one. This person sent it in, really wanted it shared and everything, so I told them I would try to get it in. So I grabbed a couple of short ones and put them together. It says, "Hey Mike, I'm still shaking my head about this one. One night that'll be etched into my memory. Absolutely, the rest of my life. You know how we've explored some wild places around here, but I've explored a lot of things, and I've tried to do what you do, boots on the ground, and I'll admit I don't have the stomach for it. I've done it for 10 years. 10 long years. I had fun, I got scared, and I ran. But when I really, 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 really came face to face," he said, "with a real cryptid, that ended my career." He said, "Sometimes we look for things and think that we're able to handle it, but we're not. Not at all. So I want to share something with you that happened on a sleepover that caused me to become involved. One night, my friend Lisa came over for a sleepover, and we started telling spooky stories in my front yard. The moon was full, casting an eerie glow over everything. We caught up on the thrill of all these creatures and everything, and Lisa and I began to talk. We were colleagues, we worked together, and we had a lot of fun. We worked in a call center. So on our breaks, we would go out, smoke our cigarettes, and we would talk about the cryptids and the scary things, pretty much like you do, Mike. But one night, I decided I was going to go to a place that was known to have werewolf encounters. So I drove my car out by myself, got out of the vehicle, and I must admit I was watching you, Sarah and Kaylee, do what we talked about tonight, your daylight in, your dark out. So they decided to replicate what we were doing, him and Lisa. He says, me and Lisa go down and we park the car, and we walked about, 2 miles, laughing, giggling, laughing about who was going to outrun who, if we got scared. And he said it was just a fun night. That is, until the sun went down. He said the sun went down and everything seemed pretty calm. Yeah, there was some weird noises and some things walking, and we were talking and making up stories about, it's probably watching us, it's probably following us. We were scaring each other. And then I decided to whistle, just a simple whistle. He said I whistled, and it whistled back. Absolutely scared the hell out of us. He said, but that's not what stopped us. We damn near ran all the way back to the vehicle. And when we got in the car, I started the car. Lisa turned on the dome light because she was scared. And he says, I think it's a woman thing to turn on the lights. I didn't say that. He says she turned on the dome lights, which blinded me. And whenever I told her to please turn them out, looking inside of Lisa's passenger side window was the largest werewolf head I've ever seen in my life. He said its eyes were on fire. They were not yellow. He said they were an orange fire color, like they were on fire. But its mouth looked like, he said, a regular werewolf's mouth, except the two front teeth went way below the bottom jaw. He said it reached his hand up on the side of her window and started scratching on it, going like this, looking at her.
Oh no.
He said, we took off as fast as we could drive the car, and I was trying to turn around because we did not back our vehicle in the dead-end road. I was trying to do a 3-point turnaround, and what do? I slammed the back tires, he said, off into the ditch. Yeah, we were stuck. He said, I was peeling out, spinning my tires in the gravel. We were scared to death. Lisa was crying, and all I could smell was the rubber from the tires. I was heating the tires up, and I knew we were in trouble. And he said that's when the back of the car lifted up and landed up on the dry road, and we were able to drive away. I do not.
So it's a helpful.
That one helped him, he said. He doesn't know why, but he said after that night, this is a weird thing. This happened, he said, in Georgia. After that night, 3 days later, he received a phone call. Lisa was crying. She was upset. She had called him. She said that this creature had followed her home.
No.
It had been beating on her house, scratching on her house. It had ate a couple of her cats. Really bad things were going on. He said he went to her house several times at night to try to calm her down. He said I would stay the night with her, sleep on the couch. He said he never heard anything, though. Every time he was there, it was quiet. He said, so I really thought she was losing her mind, that night had, scared her. She was having, PTSD or something. Until he got the phone call that they found her half eaten down by the swamp. He said that happened a few years ago. And they found her at the end of a dock. And he said they only found her lower half and her top half has never been found. He said, I'm absolutely done with cryptids. I watch your show every now and then, but as far as an investigator, I gave it up and gave all my equipment away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
That is wow.
It makes you wonder, why would it help you out of a ditch and then go and consume somebody, right?
Because
Well,
I think I
go ahead.
think that they do it because they like fear. So she was afraid of it, like really afraid of it. I mean, that's what would make me think that maybe it got her because it knew how scared she was.
A lot of people, and I spoke to a pastor. Had the opportunity to. And, it's kind of like what he was talking to me about one night. He's like, faith is your power. That is your strength. If they can distill fear in you, they can make an opening on anybody. If you're afraid, they feed on that. Even, God tells us, I don't give you a spirit, of fear.
Yep.
And if they're able to do that, to scare you while you're out there, then that's another thing. And then another thing he told me, and I'd like to get the chat's opinion on this, guys. I really would. We were talking about rebuking these creatures and following you home and everything. What had happened is I was just in a place where I had a preacher come and talk to me. And we got to talking about this subject. And he was telling me, if you're like, say me and Amanda and Jesse decided to go fishing, right, guys? And that was our full intention, was to just go fishing and camping, have a fun time. Not going spook hunting, not hunting these things. We're going fishing, camping, that's it. Okay, one of these creatures come up, which are the descendants of the Iliad, of the Nephilim, of the fallen angels, demons, right? So one of them comes up, and it's in its physical state. It is the offspring of the Iliad. It is the corrupted DNA. It is the beast, if you will, of the woods. It comes up. It's animalistic, humanistic, which means like Jeffrey Dahmer's coming after you and he's going to hurt you. You plead the blood of Christ on him. Is it going to stop Jeffrey from killing you? Odds are it's not going to. Is there
Exactly.
people out there that have the faith that could do that? Absolutely. Is there a lot of people that can do that? No. Odds are he's going to hurt you unless you defend yourself. Okay. But let's say you're out there and a demonic force comes, a demon, and you start hearing the talk and the wind blows, where it's not supposed to, and you start hearing like baby crying. It's a real demon, and you rebuke it, right? It has to leave. It has to obey the word of Christ. It has to leave because it is a demonic creature. It falls in those laws. But if we go out there, guys, and we're hunting this stuff, we're not camping or fishing, but we're actually going out in pursuit of these things. We're mimicking them, we're calling them, we're talking to them, we're saying, "Are you there?" And he, I told him, I said, "Well, I don't talk to them. I don't go out there and, be like, 'Hey, how you doing?'" He goes, "Do you engage them vocally?" Well, yeah, I have. He said, and I told him I whistle. He said, whistle is a form of communication. So he's like, if you go out and you look for them, you're giving them the right to look for you and to interact with you. He said, the Bible says, do not tempt the Lord thy God. So if you go out, he said, and you keep pursuing these things, and then you keep telling them, leave me alone, but hey, where are you at? He said, it don't work like that. Either you want them rebuked and you want them away from you, or you want them around you. He said, that's where you have to decide, do I want to be bothered by these, or do I want to give them the okay to seek me out because I'm seeking them out? He said, you cannot seek them out and then run them away. He said, if you're going to do that, then you would be going out doing, an exorcism as preachers do. They seek them out in other people and then they exorcise them to the dry places. He said, we don't go communicate with them and look for them and whistle at them and try to, get them to communicate back with us. So I want to put that out there to you guys and see what y'all think about that. That's just what he told me. And I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I think that when you do that stuff, you're inviting them in for sure.
I agree with Segador on that. What's your thoughts, Jesse? We're too quiet. I need some arguments in the chat. I need to, because I'm getting hit hard with it, because I'm just going to tell you all the truth right now. Yeah, I've had hitchhikers follow me home. And is it getting harder and harder to get rid of them? Yeah, it is. It's not easy. And just last night, outside of our barns, something was making hoot owl noises at us. It was not a hoot owl. And it started throwing rocks at the house.
Yep, one followed you home. Or multiple.
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about the picture of the strange children. But,
Right.
I mean, yeah, as many people know, even in the live that I did, the last Boots on the Ground that I actually did, that was one of the comments that I was accused of. Can't go out there looking for these things and expect to be protected. Yeah, the people that were saying this were not of good company in the first place and were infiltrating the chat. However, yeah, again, that was what I was accused of. However, I'm not going out there to seek them for anything, a game trophy, or to bring home a body, or I want to prove that these things are out there to whoever is watching and show that these are not of God. I mean, so many people believe that these are just flesh and blood animals, and they're not.
Nick makes a really good point, and it does remind me of speaking with Travis Carpenter. What is the first thing Scott Carpenter said? Do not seek them out. Do not give them power.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Carpenter goes as far as to say, don't look for them, don't mess with them. And I've been doing, Don, the Hitchhiker Effect. I've been doing a whole lot of thought on this, guys. And just I want your all's opinions on this, your true, honest opinion. Scott Carpenter said don't do it. Scott
Yeah.
Carpenter, in his research, came to the theory that rebuking them gives you a certain bubble around you, but it also does not stop them from following you home, because you're giving them the right to seek you out because you're seeking them out. Now,
Yeah.
I tried to I guess not lie to that preacher, but he kind of caught me up in a few things, because I was like, well, I'm not out there trying to communicate with them. He said, then what are you doing? Why are you out there walking? Are you going for your midnight walk? No.
Sure.
Yeah.
But deep down, the truth is I'm not going for a midnight walk. Why am I carrying a camera? Why do I have an audience? Why am I whistling? Why am I mimicking them? Why am I, doing tree knocks? Why am I making whoops? Because I'm trying to get a reaction out of them. It's like me knocking on their door. I'm saying, hey, here I am. Where are you at? And he's
Because it's
like,
entertaining.
exactly. And, living at my granny's, I wondered what they are, and I always wanted to know what they are. And he's like, but you know what they are.
Me too, Mike. I want to know what they are so bad.
Right. And I'm like, but that was his argument. He's like, you know what they are. And he said,
But we don't.
these things can kill you or your family, he said. And he
Yeah.
believes that as time goes on and the veil becomes thinner, they're going to be able to do more and more to us. And, there's a different pastors, different religions will believe different things. Now, what he told me was, if I have somebody, like, say I was married, say I made that mistake again, and I was living with her, and she didn't believe in God, right? Say she didn't believe in God, which I would never marry somebody who didn't believe in God. I'm just using as an example. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just making and she didn't believe in God. He said what I was doing could, get me hurt also, and it could follow me home. It wouldn't necessarily possess me, he said, but now it could attach to me. And he said these creatures also like to build, what was it we was talking about the other night? They like to build in the churches. You said the churches have them altars. They like to build altars at your house and at your home and on your property also, and that they will do that. So you can get an attachment, you can get an altar there. So he's like, your unprotected spouse would then be subject to possession for them to make her ill. He said they can't kill her, but they can make her sick, depressed, ill. They can possess her and then cause her to harm herself without getting myself in trouble, because they'll be waiting to get me on that. But my thing is, and this is the conclusion I came up to, and y'all tell me in chat if I'm right or not. When I go to the woods, I know that I'm seeking them out. They know that I'm seeking them out. That gives them the right to seek me out, because truly in my heart, the truth, the truth, I'm not going down there to walk around to look for a fishing spot, a hunting spot, to coon hunt, to rabbit hunt, to find a deer stand. I'm down there looking for them. I'm looking for evidence. I'm looking for footprints, tree knocks, yells, hollers. Why am I using a thermal down there if I'm not? It's illegal to hunt with a thermal. You can't hunt with a thermal. It's absolutely illegal. So what would I be looking with a thermal? So what are your all? I'll let you all. You have the floor. I'm just going to listen.
I already said the same thing. Although I do like to bring up, Don wants to know, do cryptids like worship and reverence, like offerings to the gods?
I believe they do, because I believe that what they come from, he wanted to be worshipped, and he wanted to place his above Jesus, and that's why he was cast out. So I believe they do. I believe that when you're out there, and a lot of the stories, Dawn, if you'll, and I don't know if you get this, but I know in a lot of mine that are sent to me, I can only speak from the emails that I get, is a lot of people start out by talking about they would either went out looking for them or they were telling a scary story talking about them. And it seems that whenever we go out and we look for them or we talk about them and give them that place that they like, they love that attention. And if you go into the woods and just, a theory, and somebody could try it out, I may try it out sometime, is go build a fire in the woods and find somebody unlike me, somebody that will go to the woods with you. Go find you a place in the woods, build you a fire, build you a campfire. And I'm not telling you to do this, so I'm just saying as an example. So if somebody does this and gets hurt, I'm not telling you to do this. I don't. I'm just telling as an example. Let me change my wording. If somebody were to go to the woods and they were setting and they had built a fire, and let's say told us, a scary story about Bigfoot, right? Like one of the stories at my granny's. Hey, we was all sitting down there one night, it came up, it started scratching on the house, and man, we were scared. And the size of this thing, so muscular, it looked like, a weightlifter. And it was so coordinated, and the way it climbed those trees and the way it ran, it was so athletic, and the way it sounded, it was so huge. Does that build their ego and bring them in like, hey, yeah, that's me, that's right, because if we're doing that, and how many times have you heard people say, don't give them place? Native Americans will tell you, if you hear your name, don't answer it. And it's the same thing. If you can take Native American logic with some Christianity, and no, I am not mixing them. I am a Christian. I'm saved by Jesus. I don't believe in those ways. I respect those ways because that's where I come from. But the Lord Jesus Christ is my Savior. But if you look at a lot of it and the experiences they have, they coincide. Don't give it place. Don't answer it. Don't go looking for it. If you look for it, you'll find it. There is so much of that goes together. And did the Indians see spirits? Sure they did. Absolutely they did. In their sweat lodges, whenever they would do what they call smoke, they would smoke somebody. Did they see things? Absolutely they did. I have no doubt. But when we go out there, is that at some point, is that going to cause them to come home? And is it going to cause them to come home to where we can't get rid of them if we continue to seek them out? That's my question. Does it come to a point to where you seek these creatures out so much that there comes a point where God's like, you know what? You keep testing me and keep testing me. And, you keep rebuking them, and I keep getting rid of them for you, but you keep going back. It's like a kid that, walks over to a stove and burns his finger. He knows that stove's hot. And if he keeps walking over and he keeps putting his hand on it, it's going to burn you every time. And the more your hand you put on it, the more it's going to burn you. The longer you leave your hand there, the worse it's going to burn you. So does it come to that point? Does it come to a point to where we have lost so many great investigators in this field that they actually are able to physically harm us because we lose that barrier of protection because we've pushed it too far?
I think it will come to a point. Yes.
Me too. I agree. I think that if you pushed it too much, and plus, okay, I just have to say one thing about Dawn said something about gifting, and I've always thought that gifting, Sasquatch or whatever, anything gifting is very bad because I think that that is giving it permission for one to follow you home to what, because you're gifting it. You're like giving it presents, whatever. I mean, you don't even know what you're gifting. You're gifting into the forest. You have no idea what you're gifting. So that's always been really scary to me. I don't think gifting is a good thing, and I don't think anyone should do that.
And Amanda, also, I would add to that, when people do gift, and they have what they call their gifting spot. It's usually a stump or a hole in
Yeah,
a tree, a hole in a tree or something. Aren't we making that into an altar for them?
exactly. Exactly. That's what I think it is an altar. You're gifting them stuff. That's what an altar is.
Hmm. Yep.
You know, whenever I was at my granny's house, and it may seem small. Hello, Infinite Seven. Glad you was able to make it. Let me throw that up there. These so-called unknown creatures are under a set of rules not to touch us, but there is rogue creatures that don't follow rules like the human criminals do. Exactly, Infinite Seven. Just like whenever God told the angels in the heavens, the Watchers, not to leave their celestial bodies and come to Earth and mate with the women. Some of them did. They broke those rules. The other ones didn't, and they're chained in hell. But there is that temptation, and we know that they've done it once, and we know in the end of days it will be like the days of Noah, that they're going to do it again. So yeah, that's really scary to me. And another thing, also, a thing that really bothered me when I was little, growing up was pretty tough. We wasn't from a rich family. My grandparents were farmers. They lived off the farm. They grew their own meat, their vegetables. I mean, we had a good life, but we wasn't rich. We didn't have like the PlayStations and the big flat screen TVs and everything. We had a box fan in the window, right? That was our air conditioner. Or we had a water cooler. A lot of people don't know what a water cooler is. Good to see you, Infinite Seven. Always good to see you.
I know what a water cooler is.
Yeah. So you came from kind of like I did, and I had this little gun. It was a cap gun. My mom and dad had bought it for me, and this little cap gun would replicate a 380, today's model 380. But the magazine really came out of it, and it really went in it, and it really cocked, and it really shot. And whenever you could afford caps, which wasn't very often, I would shoot caps in it. But mainly, it was my play gun at my granny's that we would play cops and robbers and everything else with. Well, me and my cousins, we always would put our stuff, out in the barn, and we knew where it was at when we'd want to play with it. One time, I had forgot to get that little pistol, and I loved that thing to death. And I left it on the propane tank, because the propane tank, that was the horse we rode. The propane tank was the horse. And I knew that I had left that little pistol there, and it bothered me because it cost so much, and mom and dad, had splurged on it. So the next day I went down there and I went to get it. It was gone. Broke my heart. Mom and dad had worked so hard to get that for me, and here I left it out there, and somebody probably stole it. Was on my mind, because it was a cool little gun. Everybody liked it. As I got older, probably about, I don't know, 15, me and my cousins snuck out of Granny's yard and done what we wasn't supposed to one evening. We crossed the barbed wire fence and went through the tall grass, all the way back past the 10 acres across the fence, down through all the persimmon trees, and we was looking for a place called Swinging Bridge. It was a place where our older cousins would go and hang out. It was a bridge suspended on cables over a creek. They called it Swinging Bridge. It was a spring-fed creek. So we decided that we was going to try to go find it. So while we're out looking for this creek, we run across this little, it's like a shack, maybe something like that, like a little shack. And we decided we was going to look inside of the shack. So we expected to walk over and open it and it be just nothing, just an old shack. Because I mean, you could tell nobody was using it. It was in the middle of nowhere. So we went down there, and the door had like a piece of wood that had a screw in the middle, and you could turn it like this to open the door and lock it and shut it and open it. So we opened it, and whenever we walked in there, it was full of a bunch of stuff. There was hammers, screwdrivers, baby dolls, um, little marbles, toys, jacks. We used to play jacks a lot. There was jacks in there. There was just toys in there. But when you walked in the door on the right-hand side, sitting up on the shelf, was one of those old-time things that they would keep water in, and they pick it up and pour the water into the dish, to wash your hands, the big I don't know what they're called. It's like we
Water
call
basin.
it, yeah, laying right in the side of it was my little gun. Hey, Leroy, good to see you. Wasn't broke, wasn't rusty. It was placed right in the side of that.
Wow.
While we were in there, we started hearing whistling, and we thought that the owners were coming back. Now, we were pretty young, and I don't know if a lot of you know, but when persimmon trees grow, they grow really thick. I mean, they're really thick. And we was looking through the persimmon trees, and my cousin said, "Oh my God, there they are!" Because we thought that the owners were coming back, and we wasn't supposed to be in there. We knew better, you know. We'd already left the yard. We wasn't supposed to. Now we're trespassing, and we got into somebody's stuff. We knew better. But then we see them walking through the persimmon trees. This is late evening, and we start wondering, why in the hell are they wearing ghillie suits? They look like two guys wearing ghillie suits, really big guys. So we took off running. The bad thing was the way we had to run was not toward my granny's, it was deeper into the woods. So we took off running, and we ran and ran, and we were going down hills and valleys, and it was me and my two cousins. My little cousin had asthma. Hey, Walter, good to see you. And he
Hi,
had
Walter.
a bad asthma attack. And we didn't know what to do. We were scared. Couldn't run no more because he couldn't run no more. We could see him walking on the top of the other hill. We knew they were going to come down the hill and follow us up to the other top. And we were just kids, but we thought that we were tough, you know, we were strong. So we grabbed some limbs and made some clubs, and we had decided, since my cousin couldn't run no more, that we were going to fight him. We were going to fight him. They started making weird noises, grunts, and we thought they were trying to scare us. We said, shit, they're trying to scare us, is all they're trying to do. So we started walking again. My uncle, been an Army Ranger, had always told me if I got lost in the woods to look for the power lines, because the power lines would always take you somewhere. They would either take you to a house or to a road, because power lines have to go somewhere, right? You don't run power to the wildlife. So we came across some power lines, and we followed the power lines, and we ended up on the highway where a neighbor picked us up and took us back home. We thought we was going to get our butts beat off for that, but you know, we didn't even get in trouble, because I think everybody realized how scared we were, that we had learned our lesson. You know, our family was just glad. I mean, they were hugging us and so glad for us to be back. And now that I look back on it, I don't think those were two guys. I think that they were two of whatever was coming up to my grandma's. And I think that they probably had ill intentions for us. Um, you know, I've talked to people about it, and I've had people tell me that maybe because we overcame the fear and we was ready to fight. I mean, we was running at first, scared to death, but then this feeling comes over to you to where you finally accept what is about to happen. You're like, you know what? We've ran as long as we can. There's no other. We're going to have to fight. That's it. You're going to have to fight. And once we made that stand, they decided we wasn't worth it, or we had ran far enough out of their territory, or, but it just goes to show that they are interested in our toys, our hammers, our tape measures, our jacks, our marbles, baby dolls. And how many
Yep.
people have lost something outside when you knew that's where you left it and it was gone?
Yep. I believe they take stuff all the time. Anything that people ever have out and it goes missing is them.
Tim wants to know if you got your gun back, though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did. I did. Yeah, I had it in my little pocket. I stuck it in my pocket, and we ran and ran and ran. Uh, Amanda, you camp a lot.
Hmm.
Has cryptids affected the way you camp or where you camp?
No, not at all.
Have you ever got so scared you wanted to leave during the middle of the night?
Oh, we have left in the middle of the night because we heard like weird stuff, and also we've had bears come into our campsite and like go
Oh,
through
wow.
everything. And yeah, there are a lot of bears in California. I mean, anywhere you go camping, there are you have to be careful for bears. 100%. We've left a couple times because of bears mostly, but one time it was because there was these weird guys in the campsite and they were like throwing stuff at the tent and they just were
What?
being weirdos. Yeah, being straight weirdos. They little did they know that I had my pew pew on me and they needed to get away from my tent, you know? And I had
Right.
my kids with me and I was just like, you know what? Screw this. I threw everything in the car and we just left.
Tyler.
Tyler, they were out there.
Tyler,
They were grinding.
they were riding your bike all over the place.
But we talk about movies, right? And how movies tell a little bit of the truth. Look at the movie It, right?
Oh gosh, don't go there.
You know?
I hate that movie.
And what was so special to all those kids? The
All their
bicycle
toys. Yep.
and the
Well, I
bicycle.
mean, everything. When you're a
Right.
kid, anything you own is special to you.
Mhm.
What was it? The comment he made? I felt like that day we had outran the devil on that bike.
Oh yeah, yep.
You know, because wasn't he sick or paralyzed? And they rode and rode and rode and faster, or the girl was, wasn't it, or somebody? And
I
then she
don't
started
remember.
kind of like waking up and coming around. And they said, I feel like that day we actually outran the devil on that bike.
Yep, I do remember that part of the movie though.
Stephen King. We have the
He's a
Werewolves of
sick
Maine,
individual.
Palmyra, Maine. Where's Stephen King from? Palmyra, Maine. Maine area. Does Stephen King wrote what he write? Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet was a
Oh
werewolf.
yeah, he did. Stephen King's kind of sick, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like kids and animals in his movies that get hurt, and I can't watch that stuff.
Yeah, he actually he's one of my favorite authors I used to read. Um,
My mom
not
too.
not because of the stuff getting
Yeah,
unalive,
yeah.
but the chance that it could happen. It
He's
was
a great
like,
author.
oh yeah, I was like, that stuff could really happen. I mean, like my dog, what happened to him that night, I will never forget. I mean, my dog, I think my dog heard it because, I mean, it sounded terrible. Infinite, good to see you, man. Hope you stop in tomorrow night for the boots on the ground. But I just think that he ended up getting, hurt more than the thing he was fighting. He didn't survive it.
Poor dog.
It did stop. It did stop coming around though for like 3 or 4 days after that happened. We had like 3 or 4 quiet nights. So, oh wow, Tyler, I want to visit Maine, man. That's one of the places I do want to visit. That's where one of my favorite YouTubers is at, Zachary Fowler. I would love to visit that. And again, guys, go ahead. I'm just going to post a link. Here's the correct link.
I was just going to say, another thing is anybody that follows Stephen King knows that a majority of his stories and his inspiration for many of his stories, I think most of them, he gets in his dreams. And we're just talking about that in the Patreon video the other day about another individual who is wealthy beyond belief because of an invention that he discovered in his dreams. And you kind of wonder, I mean, who's giving these people, who's putting these thoughts and things into their dreams, and where are they coming from?
If you look back in the Old Testament and stuff, a lot of visions were given in dreams. I pray over myself every night before I go to sleep because I know that when I go to sleep, that is when I'm at my most vulnerable. And, whenever I go boots on the ground, I've had a lot of people ask me, have you ever had the mind speaking? No, I haven't. Did I have it at my granny's? Nope, never had it there. Why did that never happen to me? Probably because the way I pray is that I don't give them they're not allowed to. I tell them, you're not allowed to. But that goes back to my question. If we keep pushing them, how much longer can you get away with that before you do get mind spoke to? Maybe, and I'm not saying God would do this. I'm just saying maybe. I'm just saying, what if God says, you know what, you need to quit doing this. So tonight, I'm going to let a mind speak to you a little bit and maybe smack you with a branch. You really need to stop doing what you're doing, because how many times does a parent tell you not to do something before they spank you?
How many times do you need to get smacked in the face with a branch?
My opinion is, and everybody can let me know your opinion in chat and everything, but I have come to accept, I guess, this. The longer I do this, the odds are every time I go out, the more dangerous it gets. Maybe a little more and more that you don't come home, or that you do bring something home that you can't get rid of. And I've had to come to terms with that. And it's in my head right now. I'm still kicking it back and forth. Infinite Seven, that would be fun. But it does cross my mind. What are your all thoughts on that?
I'm not understanding what Nick Z is saying.
You had depression dread on your boots on the ground, not the headache less. Yeah, whenever I was down there, Nick, I did start feeling really depressed, really heavy. I started feeling like I really didn't want to be there. I had that feeling come over me all at once. I really became not interested in the boots on the ground. Like, I didn't even want to do it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dana, I get worried too. Definitely. No, Tim, it ain't going there. I've already thought it out. I'm not quitting. The boots on the ground will continue. Um, I have decided that I'm willing to, in order to seek these out, I'm willing to accept what may happen. Um, is it scary? Yeah, I mean, I do get scared out there. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say, I'm Rambo. I'm not. I'm not Rambo. Was the job I worked in, did it help prepare me for this? Absolutely. I patrolled a lot on my own. I worked nights. That's when I started working. And I went to a lot of scary places. I worked not in the city a lot. A lot of my work was in the country. And I think that helped prepare me. I'm used to being alone. I'm used to dealing with problems alone. And, anybody that works in law enforcement or security will tell you, if you call for backup every time you go out, then your job is limited. They're going to replace you, because we cannot afford to have somebody calling for backup every time they go out. That you just can't do that. Was I scared sometimes at my job? Absolutely. Did I think there was nights I wouldn't go home? Absolutely. And not because of cryptids, because of people that I would stop and have to deal with on the side of the road or back of a building in the dark. And you don't know what they're willing to do to get away that night. And have I had to wrestle a guy out in the middle of nowhere by myself and put handcuffs on him? Absolutely. What runs through your mind? I tell you what ran through my mind. I'm going home tonight and I can't lose to this dude no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your mind has to go. And you have to be willing to do whatever you have to do to go home.
Yep.
So, but to answer your question, Tim, we are boots on the ground over here, buddy. We're the best at it, in my opinion. I think this is the best boots on the ground channel. We don't go out and add music to our lives and enhance it and put flashing lights and oh my God, because you know what? I'm not here to make a movie. I'm here to go out and have encounters, to investigate, and to try to find answers. If I wanted to make a movie, then I'd do what, HBH has done. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to go out and to try to, get people to look at me because of how I dress. I want people to judge me based on my investigations. I want to be based on what did I find? What did I figure out? What is out there? I want to be, on my intelligence, not, what I'm trying to showboat or sell. I think it's important, if you're going to investigate, to look for evidence, to be evidence based, and don't, and it's okay if that's what your channel. I'm not saying it's not okay. If your channel's about entertainment and it's not about truth, by all means, go out and entertain. But I'm just saying that's not what my channel is. My channel is not about the entertainment. My channel's about, hey, let's go out and see what we can find, right? Let's see what's really out there. Because if you think about it, if Amanda goes camping with her kid, right? This other channel would do like, here's Amanda going to her tent, dramatic music, But if you look at it in real life and you're really trying to find the answers to these things, do it right. Don't add that stuff, because people want to know, what does it really sound like when it happens? What does it really feel like when it happens? This isn't some B movie.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You're really out there trying to find out what these things are, why they do what they do, why they live where they live, why do they, we have a good idea what they are. We know that they're probably the descendants of the Nephilim and the Eliod, but then you have to ask yourself, if they are, and they live down there, why do they come up to our houses and peek in our windows? Why do they, steal our toys? Is it because that lineage in their blood is still there, that they are the Watchers, that a peeping Tom is in their blood?
I think so.
I think a lot of it too goes back to that they know that, it used to be a commonplace for people to know that they were there and that they are out there. And it has been ingrained in society that these things aren't out there and that they're all myths and legends and tales and they're make believe and there's nothing to worry about. The worst thing in the woods is, the mountain lion or the bear. And these things are out there. So I think a lot of it too goes back to that they know that, in our minds, they're not supposed to be there and they can get away with it to an extent with a lot of people.
If Sunshine ever tells her story someday, you'll be amazed at what she went through. She did go through something that nobody should have to ever go through. And I think that if a lot of people were to go through what she went through, they would stop. They would absolutely stop. What she had happen to her is one of the worst things I've ever heard of any encounter. And when she's ready someday, she'll tell me, she said, but I'm not going to push her until she's ready.
Wow. I'm sorry, Sunshine.
She had it really bad. Absolutely, OCST. That's the way to be. You have to be. You have to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
100%. I don't trust, especially anyone when it comes to my kids. I just don't trust anyone at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. Your back will only hold so many knives, right?
Exactly.
It's horrible. But over here at Abnormal Investigations, we have a really strong core following. We have really good people. They have been with me through the thick and thin, and I'm really appreciative of them. And that's why tomorrow night, we're going to be boots on the ground doing what we do best. And, it's not going to be low-cut shirts trying to sell my partner to make views. We're actually going to go try to find evidence. So
there you go.
Should have a fun time tomorrow night, Go ahead, Jesse.
No, I was just saying hello, Urso.
Hello,
But guys, that is absolutely pretty much all I've got, unless you two's got anything you want to add to this before I go boots on the ground tomorrow night. Anything you two want to add, say, ask?
Can I give my channel a shout out?
Absolutely.
Actually,
Okay. It's Amanda's Crazy Life channel. And maybe if Jess or Mike could throw the link up, that would be awesome.
That would be
right
Jess.
on top of that,
Okay.
Rose.
Thank you, Jess.
I actually had it all set up and ready to go.
Aw, I
There
knew
you
you
go.
did. I knew you did, Jess. This
All
was
right.
a great show. Thanks again for letting me on again.
Mhm.
Oh, we appreciate you coming in and sitting with us. You're going to
Yeah,
be
I love it.
moderating. You're moderating tomorrow night while I'm boots on the ground, right?
Correct. Yep, I'll be there.
I think a lot of people's going to be there. I've had a lot of people send me stuff today saying, "Why don't you skip the sit down and do the boots on the ground?" I don't know, guys. 2 boots on the ground a week. That might happen in July. You never know. July might be a busy, busy month.
I'm going to Wolf Creek, Oregon on July 8th, and we're going to be there for a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Taking a big trip.
Yep. And I'm going to record it all and put it all up on my channel. I'm going to go to the spot where I actually saw Bigfoot for my first time and record that and show that. And then also go salamander hunting and to my family's cemetery.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. What? I've never heard of salamander hunting. What is that?
It's just, there's a lot of salamanders in Oregon, and in the creeks, you can like seriously just get in the creek and catch salamanders all day long.
Bro, do you eat them or just catch them for fun?
No, you don't eat them. They're
Oh.
just cute. You just hold them and then you put them back in the water.
I'm usually not catching something unless I'm eating it.
Well, I mean, I don't think you could eat these salamanders because they're poisonous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd probably be a bad idea. We're having some
Actually,
salamander tonight with some poison hemlock.
I actually was just reading a story about how a salamander actually got into somebody's coffee pot and they both died because
Yeah, no,
it had,
salamanders are
yeah.
poisonous. Like I told
Mhm.
my kids that we can touch them and everything, but after we're done, we have to wash our hands and no putting. I mainly told my son this: do not put your fingers in your mouth, okay?
Mhm.
Can you pick your nose?
Sure, I think so.
All the important questions.
Yeah,
Right? But don't pick your butt.
Yeah.
yeah. Salmonella is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda. I'm going to let you say your final words, and we'll let Jesse, and then I'll end the show. And thank you
Okay.
each and everybody for showing up.
I just want to say thank you to everybody in chat. You're all awesome, and thanks for being so awesome, everyone. And Jess and Mike, you guys are awesome too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love and happiness to all. Good night, guys.
Night. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. Appreciate each and every one of you. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everybody here and the support that you show the channel and show Mike and Hunter. So thank you to each and every one of you for being here. Hope you all stay safe. Be careful, stay hydrated in this heat. Check on your neighbor, make sure they are okay too in this heat. And God bless.
All right, everybody. I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up tonight. Means a whole lot to me that y'all showed up tonight. Tomorrow night we will be boots on the ground. Should be 8:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. It should be an interesting night. If the rain holds off, it will be one of those deals. If the rain does hold off, which I'm hoping that the rain will hold off. I hope to see a lot of you there. If you don't mind, share out our live. It's the thumbnail's out, so share it out everywhere, and we'll get out there tomorrow night, see what we can find. Thank you all for showing up tonight. Thank you for the hearts for the boys. Love each and every one of you. And remember, guys, until next time, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And we'll see you on the next one. Good night, and God bless.